Welcome to U.S. LawShield Live. I'm Sam Malone at the news desk in Houston, Texas. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, the big story is the national election that just took place, what's called the midterms. And there's fallout. Obviously, when one party takes over a certain part of government, it can have a great effect on us, especially those who embrace the Second Amendment. Okay, so we are on social media live. Keep your comments. You can post your questions. You can message us directly, and we'll try to get back to every single person. As always, we're joined by the best, the independent program attorneys at U.S. LawShield. Emily Taylor is a top gun over there, metaphorically speaking, great friend of ours, and we get to throw questions to her for her answers. Emily, how are you? Welcome to LawShield Live.
Oh, I'm great. How are you, Sam?
Fantastic. Now, big election that took place that everybody's buzzing about with the midterms. Let me just give you one example, one of the passages that passed in one state, and then we'll talk about how does it affect those of us who are proud to-way people. This is from Washington State. Voters approved tough gun control measures. It's called one of the toughest gun control laws in the country. You increase the age limit to buy a pistol or semi-automatic rifle assault from 18 to 21. Impose a 10-day waiting period for purchases, increase background checks and everything like that. I always worry about a waiting period, a 10-day waiting period. Should a single mom or a person who lives alone realize there's danger, bad guys don't wait 10 days. What do you do? I mean, this is horrible.
It is, but, you know, we're actually, not because of last night's election, but frankly, because of the election in 2016, we're in a better place to combat that sort of thing now than we have been in the past. So keep in mind that we've got our big Supreme Court gun decisions. We've got Heller, we've got McDonald, and since those cases, the Supreme Court has been unwilling to take up state assault rifle bans, state gun control bans that we think are unconstitutional. Now we have a Supreme Court who may be far more willing to take up those cases and, frankly, much more likely to say you can't impose that sort of limitation on the Second Amendment. That is not a constitutional limitation. So it gives hope to those people who live in states in which the legislature of that state is going to pass those sorts of bans. People in states like Washington, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, all of these kind of big perpetrators of that sort of law, because now when we start to challenge them, and again, this all goes back to 2016 and Donald Trump's election, because we have a Supreme Court that hopefully will be more helpful in saying, no, you cannot do that to the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, it's very scary, the right to keep and bear arms, where it says shall not be infringed. I think a 10-day wait period. Now, I'm in Texas. I don't live out there in Washington. I don't have a say. I didn't vote. But to me, the word infringed and 10-day wait don't go together, right? It sounds like they're, if it's not to be infringed, why would you put a time limit on it? Why don't you just put 100 days on it?
Well, I mean, if you think that's bad, try trying to purchase a gun out in New Jersey or New York and getting your approvals there. I mean, I think that there's, although 10 days is harsh, I think that's probably not the harshest limitation in the whole country. And it really is. It's tragic. It's upsetting that we're doing that to the Second Amendment. Whether or not a court would agree that it's an unconstitutional limitation, well, your guess is as good as mine, but I think we've got a better shot now than we had before.
And then Emily Taylor, independent program attorney with U.S. LawShield. And remember, when you're a member, you have 24-hour access to independent program attorneys like Emily all over the country. If someone's a proud to-way person like I am, like you are, is there a positive spin on the story of the House going Democrat? Is there something that we can use to console each other with? An anecdote, an upbeat message?
Well, sure. And I think that consolation prize is, with the Republican-controlled Senate, with a Republican president, it is impossible. It is not going to happen that we're going to have some sort of anti-gun bill or some sort of law that's going to restrict our Second Amendment freedom actually make it through both chambers and be signed into law by the president. It will not happen. So that's the consolation prize. Now, what you need to think about is, will anti-gun bills start to be proposed or reintroduced in the House? Will they pass the House? yes, but don't panic. It is probably more of a political show to the Democratic base than any sort of real threat to any of our rights. So that's what I would say. Keep in mind, in terms of the party that supports the Second Amendment, that party is still in the power position. So that's a very good thing.
I feel better now. It's like there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Emily Taylor with us. Access, like I said, to independent program attorneys with U.S. LawShield. Because state laws change, like the one in Washington, you're going to need to get in touch with an independent program attorney, get the right facts, right, the real deal, not something, quote, you might look off the internet. Talk to an independent program attorney and stay out of trouble. And that's what membership is so important with U.S. LawShield. In fact, you can join and get the legal defense for your self-defense easily. So just go to the website, uslawshield.com. Use the online code SAM. Sign up, pay for the annual membership. They give you 2 free months. So it's like 14 months of coverage. Should you, and we always say, gosh forbid, have to use your firearm or even another weapon like a knife or a baseball bat or your fists, should you have to use them, get right to the attorneys, 24/7 attorney answered hotline. Go to uslawshield.com. Going back with Emily, I remember you and I months ago had talked about that if you had a concealed carry like we do in Texas, and I wanted to just, I got my car, it looks like a driver's license, folks, that there would be a national kind of concealed carry reciprocity act where, hey, I got my license, got my background check. I'm just going to go over to New York for a little bit. Made it through the House. I guess it's dead, right? I guess something like that won't see the light of day for a couple years.
Well, the problem is that, yes, it did already pass the House. It went to the Senate. It just languished. Now, could it pass the Senate? Sure, if they wanted to bring it back up. But if it had to be reconciled in the House, there's virtually no way that we would get a true bill ready for the president now. So, I hate to say it, but I think that any of the good progress we thought we were going to make, not only the concealed carry reciprocity, which was a wonderful bill, but I think that we are out of luck there, at least for the years to come. We had the SHARE Act, which is what incorporated the Hearing Protection Act. You might remember it began as the Hearing Protection Act, but then it became the SHARE Act and had lots of other interesting hunting provisions and things like that inside that bill. That bill, I think, is also highly unlikely to proceed and be passed by, of course, the now Democratic-controlled House. Now, again, the flip side of that coin is the assault weapons ban, which is pending in the House and is really dangerous and really extreme. Though that might pass the House, will never pass the Senate and won't see the light of day. So we're sort of in a situation right now in which our gun rights are not going to get any better or freer, but they're also not going to get worse.
It's not the kind of story you want. It's not going to get worse, but it's not going to get better. Emily Taylor, I think it was one of the governor, she was running in Georgia. Abrams is not a fan of the AR-15, and she also talked about, quote, taking them off the streets. If you're a person who, whether you collect them, whether they were handed down to you, maybe your dad or grandpa or mom or dad had them or whatever, that's very scary to think the government would want to take something away like that. And this is, once again, reaffirms why elections have consequences.
Yeah, the demonization of the AR-15 is one of the strangest outcomes of the last 20 years of American life. I cannot understand why that is, but that is not going away. It's something that, I think we all, as Second Amendment advocates, play a part in educating people who aren't as familiar with firearms, educating people across the political aisle from you. I mean, we can engage in these conversations without, hating one another and without getting in big blowups. Let them know, talk to them about this is what an AR platform rifle is. It's not any deadlier or scarier than any other firearm. And, until we can actually change those minds, it's going to remain a political tool, and it's going to remain in peril if the party that wants to enact gun control steps into the power position.
And then what would happen, like say they wanted to ban that, what would happen to the AR-10 or the Mini 14 or others, of which they're just, quote, not as popular in the newsrooms across America trust me, we deal with it every day. We just talked to a fellow, it was today, who referred to the AR-15 as a killing machine. And which I always respond, sir, if there's a barrel aimed at you, that's a killing machine. It doesn't matter if it's a 22, a 38, a 380, whatever. It's a killing machine when you're on the other side of the barrel. We have our hands full. We absolutely have our hands full. And now more than ever, you need to have a direct pipeline to independent program attorneys like the amazing Emily Taylor by becoming a member of U.S. LawShield, legal defense for your self-defense. Online right now. Go to uslawshield.com, uslawshield.com. Use the online code SAM. Get 2 free months when you sign up for the annual membership. Because as you can see when we talk about the story in Washington State, gun laws change quickly, dramatically, and rarely ever for the good of the 2A law-abiding person. They more clamp down on the freedoms. This way you can just get online or just call, and you can get to the independent program attorneys 24/7 attorney answered hotline. The amazing Emily Taylor. Emily, as always, thank you for coming on our U.S. LawShield Live and just helping me sound a whole lot smarter and educating us.
Well, it's always good to talk to you, Sam. Thank you.
You got to have a blessed day. Everyone else, keep your comments and questions coming. And don't forget, you can direct message us, and we will get right back to you. For U.S. LawShield Live, I'm Sam Malone in Houston, Texas. Thanks for watching.